I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. Another gray whale has been found dead in the San Francisco Bay. The carcass washed up on Alameda South Shore Beach and was towed to Angel Island State Park for a necropsy. The Marine Mammal Center confirms this is the fourth gray whale to be found dead in the bay this year. Markets rebounding this morning following steep declines yesterday. The Dow up about 1,000 points. The Nasdaq and S&P up about 1% at the open. The Dow fell about 1,000 points yesterday after President Trump continued his attacks on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. And new evidence filed in court in an effort to overturn the conviction of Scott Peterson. The LA Innocence Project claims the prosecution destroyed evidence denying him a fair trial. He was convicted in 2004 for the murder of his wife Lacey and their unborn son. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Families living in San Francisco shelters forced to leave during their time of need meet a group of mothers pushing to change the city's eviction policy.
It's a very inefficient program. It's a very inefficient policy. They have redefined who is actually homeless in our family shelter system.
Plus, a North Bay community remembering 4 high school students killed in a car crash. Hear from the sister of a victim who recalls the moment that she knew something was wrong.
She's seen and everyone knows her. Everyone knew her and everyone knows her.
And the world's fastest land mammal facing the threat of extinction. We're going to meet the Bay Area native making it her mission to save the cheetah.
My mission is to save the cheetah and change the world.
Thanks for joining us today. Let's start with our first alert weather. Another pretty warm day today, but cooler conditions are coming. Meteorologist Jessica Birch has our forecast.
Well, it's a beautiful day for us in the Bay Area. We're gearing up for some more warm weather in those inland spots. Areas like Antioch, all the way over into Concord, topping off in the upper 70s and lower 80s. That's also the case up into Santa Rosa. Throughout wine country today, we're sitting above average. We're holding on tight to upper 60s in San Francisco with low 60s along our coastline in Half Moon Bay. A little bit cloudier and breezier for our friends along the shoreline today, but we are nice and warm and mostly sunny down into the Santa Clara Valley with 80s right around the corner as we head into this afternoon just near San Jose. We have small day-to-day changes in the forecast for us, but we are cooling down around the corner. Cloudy skies are going to continue to fill the bay throughout this evening. We'll clear up into the overnight hours tonight with that coastal fog right around the corner. At the same time, we're gearing up for beautiful weather just in time for first pitch at Oracle Park tonight. The Giants are going to win with nice, cool weather, 50s in the forecast, which is a good excuse to get a new jacket at the ballpark. Now, here's what's happening as we head into the next couple days. Let's start off over in the Bay. Places like San Francisco, Daly City, all the way across the Bay Bridge, over into Oakland and Berkeley, too. Today, we're sitting in the upper 60s and lower 70s, but day by day, we start to cool down into the low 60s, eventually even some upper 50s along our coastline, with a light chance of showers as we head into our Saturday forecast before we get another warm up right around the corner, Sunday heading into Monday. Now, you make your way over into our inland spots, it's just as noticeable. We're talking about the East Bay now, the Santa Clara Valley, wine country. Today, we're talking about 80s in some of those spots, 70s tomorrow, 60s by Thursday. It's a cool setup for us as we head into this weekend's forecast. Also with a chance of showers around the corner for Saturday morning, clearing up fast with a beautiful wrap up to the weekend heading into Sunday with sunny skies and 70s around the corner. Back over to you.
It is a policy that has come under scrutiny in San Francisco. Homeless families facing eviction from city shelters after 90 days. Now there's a group of mothers pushing for change. And as our Veronica Macias shows us, a new plan could give families more time.
In San Francisco's Mission District, there's a growing grassroots effort to change the city's shelter eviction policy. It's a campaign to keep all children off the streets of San Francisco. Children who could become homeless are delivering a message to lawmakers. Their mothers spent weeks planning and strategizing, attempting to convince city supervisors to help them.
That is the idea, and our only purpose to get all of the children off from the streets of San Francisco. No child should be homeless.
Vanessa is a group organizer who became involved with the Faith in Action Network after having to live in her car for weeks. She's a victim of domestic violence and had nowhere to turn to. Through these weekly meetings, these women have helped one another survive.
It is very difficult to take your children and sleep on the street. I have had to do it. We had to sleep in the car for 2 weeks practically, and that has to touch your heart.
Nonprofit Faith in Action is helping the women organize and petition city supervisors to stop evictions for families with children from city shelters. Just last week, they won an extension for one family. The current policy allows families to stay in shelters for 90 days with 2 30-day extensions.
That they give us a decent place to live with our children. We're not asking for free. We are asking for help with a subsidy because we know that there are subsidies. We just want them to be given to the people who are here and who need them.
City officials say the shelters cannot provide a permanent source of housing.
There's more than 300 families who do not have shelter who are on the shelter waiting list. And so if shelter becomes the long-term housing for people, we've lost our shelter as a resource. One of the things that I think is worth considering is that after this policy first went into effect, the rate of getting families out of shelter and into permanent supportive housing significantly increased.
We are one of the richest cities in the world.
District 9 Supervisor Jackie Fielder has showed she's on board. Just this week, she introduced an ordinance to amend the city's code preventing city-funded shelters from kicking families with children out within a year unless they're being offered housing.
It's a very inefficient program. It's a very inefficient policy. It's my view that it should be rescinded. And the mayor can do that and has not. They have redefined who is actually homeless in our family shelter system so that they can artificially lower the numbers from about 500 to 300.
Until they can find permanent housing, they will continue to push for change.
When you have children, it becomes your fuel. And I know that all mothers who see this will understand me. If you have to tear your heart out for your children, you will. And that is what moves us all. We want to give our children a decent place to live so that they can go to bed at night warm and comfortable in their beds under a safe roof and not have to be every 3 months.
Making matters worse, the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing says of all city-owned units, only 83 are available. Nearly 300 have a move-in in progress, and more than 350 are offline, most in need of maintenance.
Well, the number of families in need continues to grow. These mothers tell Veronica they will continue to ask questions surrounding the vacancies in city-owned properties. The funeral date for Pope Francis has been set. The Vatican says that it is going to be held this Saturday at St. Peter's Basilica. His body will be moved there tomorrow, where he will lie in state for 3 days until his funeral. President Trump confirmed on social media that he and the First Lady will attend. The pontiff died yesterday of a stroke and heart failure at the age of 88. Today, the faithful flocked to St. Peter's Square for a second day to mourn his death. And Bay Area Catholics are also remembering Pope Francis. That includes one local church leader in San Jose and some parishioners who got to meet him in person. Arlen Ramirez has their stories.
The bells were ringing at St. Joseph's Cathedral in downtown San Jose as many came to pray for Pope Francis. One day after celebrating the joy of Easter, many awoke to the sad news that the pontiff had passed.
His health wasn't that great in recent months. But when I come in and I see his picture on the altar, and it hit me.
He was a great man, an inspiration, and it's very heavy on my heart, and I'll keep praying.
The Mass was celebrated by Bishop Oscar Cantu, who later shared that he met Pope Francis on several occasions, including the papal visit to Juarez, Mexico on the U.S. border in 2016. Bishop Cantu said Pope Francis will be remembered for his commitment to the impoverished, to immigrants and the refugees.
That experience there at the border really impacted him. How many people held out hope at that border, hope for safety, hope for a new life, hope for peace.
Francis was often referred to as the People's Pope.
Just a tremendous example and legacy that he has left us, one of humility, one of going to the margins, to the peripheries of society, and lifting up those who have had no voice, those who have been invisible, and seeing them as truly brothers and sisters in humanity.
And two of those who met him in person will never forget him.
Even though there were thousands of people there at St. Peter's Square that day, he made it seem like you're the only people.
It's been a lot of sadness, and we just feel really blessed to have been able to meet him.
Kevin and Jenny Rose Bernaga went to Rome for the Pope's blessing for newlyweds last year, and they brought an authentic zucchetto or skull cap to give to the Pope. That cap now has a place at St. Joseph's altar because Pope Francis accepted their gift and then gave it back to them.
He looked at it, he placed it on his head, and he smiled, and so he took it right off and he gave it back to me, and he said, "This is now for you. This is your gift." And so he said, "Thank you." And I said, "Pope Francis, the young church and the whole church in San Jose, California, we pray for you every single day." And he said, "Thank you so much. Please let them know I'm praying for all of you too."
So what happens next? Again, Pope Francis will lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica throughout the week leading up to his funeral on Saturday. And then in about 2 to 3 weeks, roughly 135 cardinals from around the world will head to the Sistine Chapel behind closed doors for the sacred process of choosing the next pope. We have much more reaction to the death of Pope Francis coming in from all over the world. Just head to our website, kpix.com, or you can download the free CBS News app. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a growing memorial in the North Bay after 4 high school students were killed in a car crash. We're hearing from the sister of one of them who is opening up about the devastating loss.
My phone sent me an SOS text that they had called, that the phone had called the police.
Plus, Mayoral-elect Barbara Lee laying out her vision for Oakland, but can she sell her message to people who say they've heard it all before?
You don't seem like you have much faith that this is going to turn around.
No, I don't. I'm a realist.
And cheetahs facing the threat of extinction. How one of the world's leading experts returned to her Bay Area roots to raise awareness here about their fight for survival.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
is right around the corner, which is hard to believe when we have another day of 70s in the forecast in the Bay. Areas like San Francisco and Oakland staying nice and warm despite the clouds rolling in from offshore and some breezy conditions into this afternoon too. But day by day, we do start cooling down back into the low 60s, upper 50s around the corner as we creep closer to this weekend. Saturday, there's a good chance we could even see some showers sweeping in from offshore. And at the same time, our inland areas are experiencing the exact same thing, even more drastic. 80s to 70s, 70s to 60s right around the corner in the next 3 days.
A memorial is growing in Marin County after 4 high school students were killed in a car crash over the weekend. And now friends and loved ones are just trying to process all of this. A total of 6 students, about 14 to 16 years old, were riding in the Volkswagen SUV Friday night when it hit a tree on San Geronimo Valley Drive and caught fire. 2 girls survived but were critically injured. The teens were all students at Archie Williams High School in San Anselmo. Our Lauren Toms spoke with some of their family members.
It's not real.
Aubriana Corin can't yet grasp the loss of her younger sister Olive in a deadly car accident on a 2-lane road in San Anselmo Friday evening. At a memorial at the crash site for the young victims, she recalls living a nightmare when she learned her sister was in trouble.
My phone sent me an SOS text that the phone had called the police, and I called her, and then it just stopped ringing. And I made it down to Marin General, and they just weren't telling us anything. So said she never even made it there.
Just 14 years old, her sister Olive was among 4 students who died in the accident. 10th graders Jocelyn Osborne, Sienna Katz, and Ada Capley were among those killed. 2 other girls, Elsa Lermont-Stranzig and Marley Barclay, were also in the car and survived the crash. They're in the hospital in critical but stable condition. Marley's mom, Jessica, said Monday there's been no evidence that alcohol was involved and that all the girls were wearing their seatbelts.
Of the moments before the accident is that they were going around a blind turn and another car veered into their lane. The driver of the vehicle that Marley was riding in swerved to miss the other road. She remembers hearing her screaming, and then she swerved.
She shared that around 6:50 Friday evening, Marley left their house to walk downtown Fairfax with a group of best friends. And by 7:15, they were picked up by the driver who was bringing them to her house in Woodacre. Seconds after the crash, Jessica says a woman named Gail, along with 2 other boys, quickly worked to get Marley out of the car. Marley's mother describes how Gail stayed with her daughter, comforting her until the ambulance arrived, saying it's because of her that her daughter is still alive.
She called me screaming, and I couldn't understand what she was saying, and some wonderful woman took the phone and spoke for her and said that she called 911 and was letting me know how bad of a situation it was, and just told me to just go straight to the hospital. And she assured me she was going to hold my daughter's hand and stay there with her until she got help.
Back at the scene of the crash, an outpouring of emotional tributes for the young victims. And from Aubriana, a message to her sister.
She's seen and everyone knows her. Everyone knew her and everyone knows her. And everyone's thinking about her and her friends.
A message to hold close as the community comes together to mourn the loss of these promising young women.
Marley's family said that they believe another car was involved in that crash. The CHP would only tell us that they are investigating any and all circumstances surrounding the crash. In Oakland, Mayor-elect Barbara Lee is laying out her vision for the city in her first 100 days after she takes office. The latest results on Friday showed the former Congresswoman in the lead by almost 5,000 votes before factoring in ranked choice. That was enough to make Lauren Taylor concede on Saturday. Our John Ramos has a look at how Lee plans to unite a city facing some pretty big problems and if the public has faith in her vision.
Her supporters often use the phrase, Barbara Lee speaks for me. But how hard is that going to be now that she's been elected mayor to speak for people when they may not agree with each other?
Barbara Lee
speaks for me. Barbara Lee entered a room full of people who she has represented for decades, but now she has a different job in a very different political atmosphere.
More than 100 days ago, I launched my campaign to be Oakland's new mayor, and when I made this decision, I did so knowing that Oakland, yes, is a deeply divided city. And so I saw an opportunity to unite our community, not just to unite to talk, but so that we can all work together to transform Oakland, to solve our problems.
There are plenty of problems to solve. Lee said her focus will be on enhancing public safety, including violence prevention programs. She said she will root out corruption, increase housing and economic development in poorer neighborhoods, as well as downtown and business corridors. She also wants to increase shelter for the homeless by seeking more resources from the county. Lee said in her first 100 days, she intends to bring together stakeholders, including PD, to improve public safety and staff blight reduction crews while seeking punishment for illegal dumpers.
I mean, I'm code enforcement, fines, come on, illegal dumping, that's got to stop.
She says she will also enlist the city's biggest businesses to enhance growth and enact permit reform for small businesses and homeowners. And she said there will be a thorough audit of the way the city spends money to make sure it's done effectively. And while Lee said she would like to get the police force up to 700 officers, she declined to talk about how she will do that with the current $129 million deficit.
Sure, well, I'm going to be briefed with regard to the details of the upcoming budget.
But across the street, enjoying a cup of coffee, was Lawrence Gladfelder, who summed up the city in one word.
I'm struggling. I mean, it's probably not as bad as Detroit, but it's it's up there.
Gladfelder has lived in Oakland for a long time and has seen a lot of mayors come and go, and he admits he doesn't have the answers to cure what ails the city.
I'm not sure, but it's going to take something that they're not doing now. You can hear a lot of rhetoric over here and flowery promises, but if it achieves anything, I doubt it.
You don't seem like you have much faith that this is going to turn around.
No, I don't. I'm a realist, and I've watched this come down. I've watched this happen for, decades.
Lee will be relying on the goodwill built up in a community she represented on the national stage. But how different will it be when she is expected to solve problems in a city plagued by problems? It didn't work so well in 2007 for Ron Dellums, another Congress member turned mayor, who was later seen as being disinterested in the mundane business of operating the city. But Lee says she is committed to bringing the city together.
It's okay to have differences. We can disagree, but we still need to unify and can unify about the approaches that serve all of Oaklanders.
She'll have her work cut out for her, especially when so many residents have lost their faith in the direction of the city. Have you ever seen it worse than this?
No, not really. I mean, overall, this is the worst it's ever been.
They say to achieve it, you must believe it. That may be the biggest challenge Mayor Barbara Lee faces in Oakland.
She is going to be the first African-American woman to serve as mayor in Oakland's history. She also announced that the co-chairs of her transition team will be Barbara Leslie. She's the executive director of the Oakland Chamber of Commerce, and Keith Brown. He is with the Alameda Labor Council. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, we are going to introduce you to a Bay Area native who became one of the world's leading experts on cheetahs.
They know that they're the fastest land animal. They have no idea the numbers are so low, that they are racing for their very survival.
How she's made it her mission to save the cheetah. On this Earth Day, one of the world's foremost experts on cheetahs is returning to her roots, trying to raise awareness on the animal's fight for survival. Dr. Lori Marker bases her conservation work out of Namibia, a country in Southwest Africa. But the Bay Area native recently traveled more than 9,000 miles to her hometown of San Jose as part of a nationwide speaking tour. Arlen Ramirez caught up with her as she shared her message with students at her alma mater.
Well, it looks about the same, but it feels different.
It's a long way from the plains of Namibia to the campus of Leland High School in San Jose. But Dr. Lori Marker, one of the world's top cheetah experts and conservationist, made a homecoming to her alma mater as part of her stated mission in life.
My mission is to save the cheetah and change the world.
Marker graduated from Leland in 1972 and went on to San Francisco State University. She first worked in the wine industry, but found her calling during a side job at a wildlife park in Oregon. And it was there where she became fascinated with the fast and the fragile cheetah.
Well, people don't know. They know that they're the fastest land animal. They have no idea the numbers are so low, that they are racing for their very survival. And that's, I think, the biggest awareness that I'm trying to bring to, the world, the Western world, the world where they live, these arid landscapes in Africa. We have a number of cheetahs in our sanctuary right now.
Marker was a special guest for a talk about cheetahs and her own unique life journey that took her from San Jose to Namibia, where she established the Cheetah Conservation Fund and Research Center in 1990. She told a packed AP biology classroom how cheetah numbers have dwindled to just 7,000 and how they are losing habitat and facing extinction.
So that's more people in this school than live in any of the cheetah range countries. We have the largest population in Namibia, which is called the cheetah capital of the world. We maybe have 1,000.
Marker is trying to stop the illegal pet cheetah trade and has introduced formerly captive cheetahs into the wild. And her center now breeds special guard dogs from Turkey to give to local farmers to protect their sheep and goats from predators so cheetahs won't be blamed and shot. Another reason for their decline. The students didn't want to leave.
It was a really special opportunity to be able to meet her and see such outstanding work and learn about such fascinating information about cheetahs, which most of us probably never knew.
The subject matter was cheetahs, but the underlying message was a strong one for students facing important life choices in upcoming years.
I hope that they take awareness. I hope that they can take away that there is somebody who graduated from their school and is doing something big. I think big for the world, and yet I'm just normal and grew up here, was walking in the same places they're walking.
She says she never expected to become the voice for cheetahs worldwide, but knew that she could solve problems, and that problem solving keeps her active and happy and could help her stop the world's fastest land animal from running out of time.
Dr. Lori Marker is right now on a nationwide speaking tour to raise awareness of the cheetah's fight for survival. In hundreds of U.S. cities, sewage spills into creeks and rivers every time there's heavy rainfall. The water contamination is a growing concern for environmental advocates as climate change intensifies storms. San Francisco has a combined sewer overflow system, which was at the center of a lawsuit that went all the way to the Supreme Court. The city then took the Environmental Protection Agency to court.
The permit conditions basically said that the city should not do something that causes or contributes to a violation of water quality standards. And the city's argument was saying, EPA, you've got to be more specific with us. You've got to tell us exactly what we can and can't do.
Join us at 5:30 today as our John Ramos speaks with people affected by the sewage overflow and what the Supreme Court ruling means for San Francisco moving forward. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, as college campuses face threats from the Trump administration over DEI initiatives, we're going to hear from some Bay Area students who say the move away from diversity programs is a good thing. Plus, a push to take care of those who handle high-stress calls every day. We're going to introduce you to a 911 dispatcher whose workplace is investing in her well-being. I'm Ann Makovic, and this is The Minute. A conservative media personality joining the governor's race. Steve Hilton announced his candidacy on Monday. He's one of a few big-name Republicans running to replace Governor Gavin Newsom, the other being Riverside County Sheriff Coroner Chad Bianco. The Federal Trade Commission is suing Uber, accusing the company of charging customers for Uber One subscriptions without their consent. In response, Uber says the FTC rushed its investigation and claims the complaint is based on misunderstandings. State officials ending Dungeness crab season early in the Bay Area. It's an effort to protect whales. Commercial fishing for crabs will end on May 1st instead of June. The Department of Fish and Wildlife holding another risk assessment early next month. I'm Ann Makovic with The Minutes.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, it's a beautiful day for us in the Bay Area. We're gearing up for some more warm weather in those inland spots. Areas like Antioch, all the way over into Concord, topping off in the upper 70s and lower 80s. That's also the case up into Santa Rosa. Throughout wine country today, we're sitting above average. We're holding on tight to upper 60s in San Francisco with low 60s along our coastline in Half Moon Bay. A little bit cloudier and breezier for our friends along the shoreline today, but we are nice and warm and mostly sunny down into the Santa Clara Valley with 80s right around the corner as we head into this afternoon just near San Jose. We have small day-to-day changes in the forecast for us, but we are cooling down around the corner. Cloudy skies are going to continue to fill the bay throughout this evening. We'll clear up into the overnight hours tonight with that coastal fog right around the corner. At the same time, we're gearing up for beautiful weather just in time for first pitch at Oracle Park tonight. The Giants are going to win with nice, cool weather, 50s in the forecast, which is a good excuse to get a new jacket at the ballpark. Now, here's what's happening as we head into the next couple days. Let's start off over in the Bay. Places like San Francisco, Daly City, all the way across the Bay Bridge, over into Oakland and Berkeley, too. Today, we're sitting in the upper 60s and lower 70s, but day by day, we start to cool down into the low 60s, eventually even some upper 50s along our coastline, with a light chance of showers as we head into our Saturday forecast before we get another warm up right around the corner, Sunday heading into Monday. Now, you make your way over into our inland spots, it's just as noticeable. We're talking about the East Bay now, the Santa Clara Valley, wine country. Today, we're talking about 80s in some of those spots, 70s tomorrow, 60s by Thursday. It's a cool setup for us as we head into this weekend's forecast. Also with a chance of showers around the corner for Saturday morning, clearing up fast with a beautiful wrap up to the weekend heading into Sunday with sunny skies and 70s around the corner. Back over to you.
Well, from funding cuts to immigration to DEI policies, Bay Area college campuses have really been in the crosshairs of some of President Trump's policies. Facing the pressure, some colleges have walked back some of their policies. The University of California will stop requiring diversity statements as part of its hiring process. There has been pushback, but our Kenny Choi also heard from some students who said the cultural shift is needed.
Miguel Muniz and Martin Berteo are passionate about their political affiliation as Republicans on the Berkeley campus. Muniz did not support Trump initially.
I was always like, I never Trump, I hate Trump, because I grew up in a small migrant town, lots of illegal immigrants.
The Trump administration's broader focus to go back to focusing on a meritocracy is certainly where our culture needs to be.
They say they've been accosted and even assaulted while tabling on campus and sharing their views. Muniz applauds the UC's decision to end the use of diversity statements.
Growing up as a Latino and as someone who was probably by definition low income, especially when I was younger, I grew up and I saw like all the obstacles that were in my way, none of them were race-based.
Diversity statements typically ask applicants to describe how they would contribute to diversity. Supporters say it makes campuses more inclusive, but critics say it does the opposite. Brian Sewage, a law professor at UC Davis, had hoped university leaders would have taken a bolder stance.
My main concern is the way in which this sudden announcement has come about.
Sewage points to a hiring freeze across the UC system as a mitigating factor. He's more concerned about the symbolic aspects of shifting away from a university policy decades in the making.
Suggesting at least that these are values that we're willing to compromise on in the face of the attacks that the Trump administration is lodging right now. That, I think, will really reduce the amount of cover on other schools, other universities that aren't in the kind of protected place that the University of California is.
The UC system is bracing for a state budget cut of 8%. The Trump administration has threatened to take away federal funding and has targeted several UC schools, including Berkeley.
I think if push comes to shove, if this attempt at appeasement doesn't work, as I don't think it will, I think the University of California is going to stand up for its values and its mission in the end. I think it'll just see that there's no other choice.
Hopefully we can move towards a culture where we look at things that actually matter and ignore things that don't, like race, sexuality. You know, the things that we all agree shouldn't be important.
The debate over DEI initiatives persists. Muniz and Berteo believe a shift to hear more of the California Republican perspective is real.
Harvard is suing the Trump administration, accusing it of illegally threatening to freeze more than $2 billion in federal funding unless it dropped its DEI initiatives. The White House responded, saying Harvard fails to meet basic conditions for taxpayer funding. We'll continue to follow that one. Well, during the last fiscal year, San Francisco's dispatch center handled roughly 1.2 million 911 calls for police, fire, and medical help. That is more than 3,200 calls per day. It is an incredibly high-stress job where every second matters. So that's why the Department of Emergency Management created a new wellness center for dispatchers. And the city's Dispatcher of the Year told our Suji Nam she is grateful for the investment.
San Francisco 911, exact location of the emergency.
Calm. It's important to stay calm.
I'm sending help. Just stay on the line with me.
That's what Kathy Osorio tells herself every time she picks up a 911 call.
Every second counts, so we have to make sure that we're ready to send the information on at the split second.
Kathy has been a dispatcher for the city and county of San Francisco for 20 years.
San Francisco 911.
Each phone ring, each dispatch can be stressful and chaotic.
When you're taking emergency calls or traffic back to back to back to back, it takes a toll on you.
And that is why Kathy says she is grateful the San Francisco Department of Emergency Management opened a brand new wellness room downstairs. Kathy and her colleagues can now stop by what used to be a multi-purpose room and relax during their breaks, prioritizing their mental health.
I like to come here and just sit down and just, rock the worries away.
The wellness room launched last month with things like massage chairs, a couch, and books for their more than 120 employees. Janet Atchin-Fallings is the Assistant Deputy Director of the city's Department of Emergency Management.
We have personal lights. We did a survey prior to constructing the room, and so we based some of the things that we have in here based on some of the feedback that we received.
Atchin-Fallings says it's important to prioritize the mental health of their staff, who go through life or death situations call after call.
We wanted to provide a space that in between that they have a place that they could come and just kind of woo-saw and just get all of that off of them.
And that's what Kathy plans to do.
Generally, I would just go to my car to sleep or get some quiet time, but here I'm allowed to spread out a little more.
It's more than just some furniture in a room. Kathy knows that she and her teammates are taken care of.
We want to get the help out there for you, but sometimes we need help too. So now we have a room where we can go decompress and help relieve that stress away from us.
Kathy says she is grateful to help save the lives of San Franciscans every day and is looking forward to continue serving her community for many years to come.
Well, coming up next, a San Francisco DJ mixing his Arab heritage with modern dance tricks.
It's fun, it's cultural, it's high energy.
How he is drawing from his roots to create a global movement.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Cooler weather is right around the corner, which is hard to believe when we have another day of 70s in the forecast in the Bay. Areas like San Francisco and Oakland staying nice and warm despite the clouds rolling in from offshore and some breezy conditions into this afternoon too. But day by day, we do start cooling down back into the low 60s, upper 50s around the corner as we creep closer to this weekend. Saturday, there's a good chance we could even see some showers sweeping in from offshore. And at the same time, our inland areas are experiencing the exact same thing, even more drastic. 80s to 70s, 70s to 60s right around the corner in the next 3 days.
Well, the Golden State Valkyries are giving back to the Bay Area. Over a period of 2 days, they're going to be giving new shoes to more than 1,000 elementary school students in San Francisco and in Oakland. It is a partnership with the organization Shoes That Fit and Kaiser Permanente. Meantime, the team might have filled up their roster, but there is one very important position to fill, the mascot. And they are hiring right now. It's a part-time gig, but get this, the pay starts at $130 an hour. Took a look at the job listing to see what it takes. They want someone with performance skills like dancing and acting. Bonus if you can do gymnastics or roller skate. Team also wants candidates to send a video showcasing nonverbal skills since, of course, mascots can't talk. They're also hoping to find a mascot that is proficient in Microsoft Office. So multi-talented auditions begin in May. Don't forget, CBS News Bay Area is your home for the Valkyries. More than 30 games are going to air on KPIX and on Pix Plus. We're also going to bring you a weekly show with behind-the-scenes access. One of the biggest pop stars in the world is coming to the Bay. Lady Gaga officially coming to Chase Center. Fresh off her stint at Coachella, the pop superstar announced more dates for her Mayhem Ball tour, and she's going to stop in San Francisco for 3 nights, July 22nd, 24th, and the 26th. Pre-sale starts on Thursday. General tickets go on sale next week. A Bay Area DJ is creating a global movement, fusing modern top 40 songs with Arabic hits. Our Laureen Ayub introduces us to him as we recognize Arab Heritage Month.
He's connecting global diaspora communities through the power of music. I'm at Empire Studios, where DJ Habib Beats is shaping a cross-cultural sound that's reflecting movement, memory, and a sense of belonging. The gatherings are called Habibi's House, which in Arabic means my love. But truth be told, it's a house for everyone. DJ Habib Beats, also known as Ibrahim Abu Ali, is a Bay Area native spearheading a booming cultural movement, blending Middle Eastern sounds with countless cultural mixes.
Growing up, I listened to everything. I was a big hip hop head. I was really big into Arabic music because my parents are immigrants. And, you know, that was a big part of our culture and our community.
Recently signed with Empire, the DJ and artist credits his San Francisco upbringing as the foundation for his creative path. And now, as a first-generation Palestinian American, he is rallying the broad pan-Arab community to connect the sounds of the East with the diversity of the West.
Mixing it with African, Brazilian, Latin, American styles of music. It's fun, it's cultural, it's high energy, and it's a big, big mix of like different types of genres and energies.
Ibrahim says growing up in the U.S. in a post-9/11 world, he felt the pressure of negative stereotypes firsthand. But he believes the newer generation is awakening to a broader understanding of the region.
I could just notice the shift. When I was a kid, like Middle Eastern culture and music and everything about that was not cool, or was not thought of as cool. I knew it was cool, but it wasn't thought of as cool maybe, and it wasn't thought of as something I think people that weren't from the culture wanted to engage with.
But Western culture was engaging, just behind the scenes. The influence Middle Eastern music has had on mainstream pop hits is vast. From Jay-Z's Big Pimpin' to Mark Anthony's Vivir Mi Vida. Now, as the DJ aims to unite diverse communities together through the universal language of music, he says the most meaningful part of the journey has been allowing often misunderstood cultures feel included.
Most of all, what I feel from people is a recognition of being seen and a recognition of representation and feeling like feeling not like they're the odd one out.
Because at Habibi's house, the beat is all about love.
Well, coming up, we're tagging along with ocean conservationists as they try to address a big problem off the California coast, their effort to ban equipment that is killing hundreds of thousands of sea creatures.
These nets are basically just walls of death.
If we don't protect this, there's going to be nothing left.
Earth Day is the day to highlight some of the most fragile parts of nature, like our planet's underwater ecosystem. There is a threat that you can barely see off the California coast that experts say kills hundreds of thousands of sea creatures. Itai Had introduces us to an ocean conservation group that's trying to fight back.
Catalina Island, just 22 miles off the coast of Los Angeles, is about an hour's journey by boat. Here, rolling hills meet pristine beaches, and Avalon, its only incorporated city, hums with the quiet charm of a bygone era. But to truly understand Catalina's beauty and its greatest challenge, you have to dive deeper. Much deeper.
Catalina is one of the 8 Channel Islands, and it's an area that is incredibly biodiverse. You know, we call it the Galapagos of North America because it is teeming with life.
Cristina Ochoa is a Barcelona-born actor and marine biologist.
How's that feel?
She's working with a global organization called Oceana to protect marine life.
Okay, good.
Their mission, film Catalina's underwater beauty before it's lost, using Ochoa's social media to expose destructive fishing practices.
I think the ocean is nature's masterpiece.
With thousands of plant and animal species, including 60 found nowhere else on Earth, Catalina is a world-class diving destination. Yet scientists warn this underground paradise faces a growing threat as the delicate balance between nature and modern life becomes harder to maintain. At stake, Catalina's kaleidoscope of life, from vibrant kelp forests to species still being discovered.
We're just scratching the surface of the diversity here.
Jeff Chester is Oceana's senior scientist. He says one of the greatest threats comes from gill nets, nearly invisible walls of mesh used by commercial fishermen that each stretch over a mile along the ocean floor. These nets kill not only fish, but whales, sharks, and other species critical to the ecosystem. According to federal fishery observers, 64% of animals caught with set gill nets are discarded. Although California voted to ban them decades ago, a loophole allows them to be used in the waters around the Channel Islands.
These nets are basically just walls of death.
Chris Voss, president of the Commercial Fishermen of Santa Barbara, argues that bycatch, the unintended capture of non-targeted species, is incidental. He warns that banning gill nets could further harm the industry, already struggling to stay afloat.
Their space is highly restricted already. And if you restrict it further, you will definitely put this handful of individuals that are still in this fishery out of business.
Ochoa sees it differently.
If we don't protect this, there's going to be nothing left.
Trading the red carpet for the deep blue to save an underwater world that's more than ready for its close-up.
Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.